Waypoint management has always been something that's been kind of a pain in my side, something I kind of avoid, do very little because it's always been a bit of a hassle. But coming back from the Bassmaster Open, my first Bassmaster Open on Lake St Clair, very first trip I ever been there, won't be my last. I plan to go back there and at least fish for fun or fish some tournaments. And I want to do something with those waypoints. I want to clean them up. I want to manage them, do something while it's still fresh in my mind. And Omnia Fishing has got a new tool for waypoints that I think is a good opportunity. So we're going to check it out. So I think we've all been there, like in the past, right? Like trying to go before a tournament, get ready. You're sitting in your boat. Some of our boats are in garages that are not climate controlled. So it's either freezing cold or it's hot as you know what. And you're sweating and you're frustrated. And it's late at night and there's mosquitoes or your boat's outside, right? It's not always a good situation to be like working on your graph in your boat, managing waypoints. There's some other like software that you can import but it's not very user friendly. It's kind of clunky and it's multiple steps back and forth. I want to try out this Omnia thing, show it to you, see what you guys think, and see if this will save some time, make it a little more easy, and streamline it, and see if it's something that will stick for me going forward. Even if you don't ever think you have a need to like relabel your waypoints, you're always going to remember them, or you don't keep waypoints. I think there's a few other cool features that I'll show you too by the end of this video that'll make it worth your while. So stay tuned, see what it's about. So almost everything I'm going to show you today can be done with a free account at Omnia. So if you just go to Omnia, where you can shop and get tackle, look at fishing reports, all that good stuff. I think most of you are pretty familiar with that. But if you go to the map, and right now it's going to kind of show me Minnesota where we're at, show me where there's fishing reports and activity. But we're going to go out to, you can search by lake, you can scan, look for it. I guess Lake St. Clair is pretty easy to find on the map. Here is Lake St. Clair. I'm not logged in, but if you go to Waypoints, so if you don't have an account, you're gonna need to create an account. All you need is an email and a password. Not a big deal. And if you need a link to this, I'll put it down in the description, either in the pinned comment or description of the video if you want to go to Omnia Fishing and do this. You can also do it on your phone via the Omnia app. So you just either create an account or log in. So I'm going to log in. And now I actually have quite a few waypoints already entered into the system here. This is a good opportunity to kind of show you how some of this can work. So most everything I said you can do with a free account. There's a few things that Premium Pro will get you here, but almost all this is with the free account. You can see there's a fair amount of waypoints here, different parts that I have to go through. And I still remember some of these for sure. And you can look at it with different mapping features. You can look at it with satellite. Different layers you can look at may depend on what your level of premium is, but all this stuff I'm going to show you. So I remember distinctly that this waypoint here, this area, and these are all private. So you can see only you can see this. It says right on the screen. There's nobody else looking at your data. I can see the date that I created it, the weight, the latitude, longitude. I can see the weather condition. Now that's part of the premium feature. So only if you have Premium Pro can you see but it was a beautiful sunny day, light winds. You can see the time. But so we can go into edit. And I know specifically here. So we edit. So waypoint 202. And I'm just going to add deep grass to this. You can add the lake. There's some symbols here. I think in the future they're going to have more symbols. Here we can say like this was deep cabbage grass almost to the surface. I can put in notes about what I was catching them on, like flipping, heavy, drop shot, Z-Man, 5-inch, half-ounce drop shot weight. Like, put as many details as you want, and you can save that, and you're going to have that. And I know there's other areas here where I had some things going on, potentially, and you can go through and relabel these, like these mile roads. We can go in and label a bunch of these. And there's other things you could know, like I know for a fact in here, I don't know how well I labeled this. Just there's no details here, but I remember now that this was basically shallow rocks. So we could say shallow point, scattered boulders, sea rigs, tubes, Neds. Quantity, not quality in July. So like you can put as many notes in here. And then if you ever go back here, different time of year, but I could go back and say, hey, you know what? This wasn't the deal in July, but it might be the deal in a springtime or in fall or something like that. The other thing that I think could be handy is like I know I didn't put a waypoint here, but I remember launching in an access down here. There was actually a pretty nice access for going to this bottom end of the lake. So here's the St. John's boat ramp. And I may not remember that in the future, but now I can create a new waypoint. So I can say waypoint create, right? So I can put it right here. I can put it in the mouth of the water. I can move it around, do whatever I want. But we can say this was, you know, St. John public access boat ramp. So that was a good boat ramp for accessing the lower end of the lake. Hit save, and now that's created. It's in there. You can also see your whole list of different waypoints if you want to look at them that way. You can filter by lakes, types of icons, things like that. So we could clean this up a little bit and only look at like Lake St. Clair or things like that. So this all can be done in the mobile app as well. So I can pull it up on my phone. And the other thing that's really neat is that any app that or any waypoints I create in my web interface automatically show up when I log into my app, and vice versa. Anything that I create on my phone will show up in the future on my web app. So it's really handy for doing research ahead of time or recording notes or editing things so they're fresh in your mind. So anything you can access at home, you can access on your tablet, you can access on your phone when you're traveling, on airplanes, things like that. It's nice because it also creates a backup for all these waypoints in a cloud online. So you don't have to worry about losing little SD cards and things like that, or misplacing our computer or hard drive drives or getting laptops stolen. You got an automatic waypoint. Definitely some of my best fish we're in a pretty tight cluster, and I had put some notes in here, like, I know this is where I caught a 3.3, this is where I caught a 5.3, right? So I know when I caught this 5.3 pounder in Anchor Bay because of the Premium Pro, it imports at this time, July 8th, 7:09 in the morning, 73 degrees, north 7-mile-an-hour winds. I can look at barometer, right? Pressure 30 inches, falling barometer. So there's a lot of information there that you can look at for next time you go there. And I can put some notes in here. Shallow weed area, perch present, big fish area, whatever you want to put in there. Then we can change this to a different icon now. So that gives you some of the features that you can look at and how you can edit. And you can start to think about how this might work for you, how you could use this. And I'm not going to bore you with going through hours and hours of, but I'm going to go through this and do a bunch of waypoint updating. I talked about Premium Pro. If you have access to that, you can start to see different layers. You may notice that you might start catch fish in areas where vegetation is present on certain lakes, or looking at bottom hardness, depending on the different lake, the amount of CMAP data that's on there. You might start to see things where you hard up bottoms or different types of bottoms. You might see patterns. You can look at, in the future for planning, you can look at water clarity if that's available. Are these all in clear water areas, dirty water areas? You could look at places you caught them in the past. And if you're going to go out in a tournament, you could say, hey, this is, currently could be dirty water. These parts are going to be washed out, things like that. In the spawn time, you could start to look at water temp, lots of different things, wind layers. So we could look at the wind forecast here and see how it's projected on your so there's just a lot of things that you could look at from a planning perspective on how this might affect your planning for short term, long term, things like that. The other thing that I found super handy is if I want to text somebody or message somebody a waypoint, right? We've all been there like in our garage taking pictures of our graphs, or out in the boat taking pictures of our graph and then texting to somebody, and they may have different units, not compatible, then they got to go in and enter them in manually. So if I wanted to say, like, I had a buddy of a buddy who was going to Lake St. Clair, they were out here, fun fishing. I sent them a couple places that they could go look and get started. And, I could get them in the general area. I could send them a boat ramp. There's a lot of things I could send them a waypoint, and like I can do it from my computer or my phone. So I can hit share, right? So I can copy a link here. Copy the link. That always gives you. It also gives you the option to send an email, a Facebook message, things like that. You can also do that from your phone. It's very handy. If they have the app or they're on a computer where they can log in, they can just go ahead and they can hit edit, save. It allows them to bring it in. It also allows you do that on mobile. You can send. I'll show that here. Whether you want to help out your dad or your uncle have a successful day, you want to send them to the best boat ramp. Hey, we fished a team tournament back together. We were fishing out of your boat. Can you send me that rock pile so when I go back there, I can find it quicker? I mean, there's a lot of scenarios where you might want to share a waypoint with somebody. So I'm going to sit here and finish organizing this and get it done on the web app because it's super, way faster for me to go on a computer and use a keyboard and clean this up. But I could definitely do some of this on my phone, when I'm traveling tomorrow as well. This is a relatively new feature that Omnia has rolled out. So subscribe to the channel if you want to be the first to know about more features that are available and coming on this Omnia Fishing, specifically the Waypoint tool. I'd love to know what you guys and gals think. Is this something you would use? How would you use it? Leave some comments below. Is there anything you want to see added? What are your biggest hassles that you run into when you're, managing your own waypoints? Are there any features that you would like to see in conjunction with these waypoints? More water temp, bottom hardness, different layers, things that Omni's not even thinking about yet. Let's leave a comment. They'll come in and read this. We can get a lot of user feedback here. So if you don't have an Omni account yet and you're thinking about it, check it out. I'll put a link down in the description below and in the pinned comment. And if you've never shopped at Omnia before, I will have a discount code in the description down below as well, which can save you 15% on your order. Great customer service. I don't think you'd be mad. I think people in the comments will tell you that if they've shopped at Omnia, they have loved it. All this St. Clair talk got you thinking about smallmouth like it does me, and you want to see what St. Clair's all about? Make sure you check out this video on the screen right here next.